I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with the cattle market summary for the week ending April the 22nd, brought to you in part by the American Simmental Association. You know, the optimal balance on yield grade and quality grade on an individual steer heifer is a composite made up of half continental breed and half British breed. See what Sim Genetics can do for you. Go to simmental.org. You know, we talked this last week about the Packers getting richer, and now that they've got this market going their way and heading down hard, they're going to take full advantage of that. Friday was just a continuation of the hard week we had this past week. You know, we knew we were teetering just with hardly any support at all, and then Monday the board broke really hard. And you know it's bad when on a Monday the live cattle board goes down $3, and then the next day they start selling fats $10 lower. I realize it was for a couple of weeks out there, but that market's going to be even softer now. But on Friday, live cattle for June was down $2.25 to end the week at $114.65, which was down $7.52 for the week. Feeder cattle for May down $3 on Friday to end the week at $142.45, which was down a little over $8 for the week. So horrible week on the board, and even worse really in the cash market. On Friday, your grains were all down really hard because they'd seen such a rally earlier in the week, and that's another thing. Whenever these grains start getting real volatile, it makes your cattle feeding industry real nervous because you don't know where they're going to land. They're up 10 to 12, 15 cents one day and down the next. But all your grains were down sharply on Friday, pretty much taking profit from the earlier gains they'd seen in the week there. And these guys that trade grains haven't seen much volatility at all for months and months. And they had a chance to have a really good week there just on their individual trades. So they all bailed out on Friday and took their profits home. Your fat cattle traded Friday morning, or started out Friday morning there before the cattle on feed report, with Texas and Kansas both trading at 127, which was better than some future delivery, or not really future delivery, but 2-3 week scheduled out front sales earlier in the week at 125. But really, the 127 was $7 lower for the week. In Nebraska and Iowa, they traded cattle on a live basis from 126 to 127, which was 7 to as much as $9 lower. And what was really an eye-opener there is they sold cattle on Friday in the meat at $2 even, which was $14 to $16 lower in the beef for the week. Colorado traded some live sales at 127.50. Your Packers just got everything going their way. Box beef was really unevenly steady this week, but saw big gains the previous week, as much as $10, and then kind of held them this week. And we're going right into Memorial Day weekend. We've got Mother's Day coming up, we've got Father's Day coming up, and we've just got a lot of grilling holidays coming, and we know that our box beef is going to continue to gain, and now we're even seeing some features in your big supermarkets, and those are starting to come out, and people are going to head in there, and they know they want beef to put on the grill for the backyard there, and just everything's lining up perfect for the Packers. It's just almost unbelievable how well it is. But on your weekly averages on the box beef, which I'd rather go with your weekly averages rather than one day compared to the next, or a Monday compared to a Friday, but this is averaged out for the whole week. Your choice carcasses were up 76 cents for the week at $222.27, and select was up $1.31 at $213.27. Cattle on feed report come out on Friday afternoon there at 2 o'clock Central, and just looking for anything to give us a positive here. We just don't have anything going our way. But it was actually neutral to friendly. Your cattle on feed report was. Your on feed April 1st inventories were estimated to be 100.9, and they come out right at that at 101, so that's not going to do anything one way or the other. Your placements were a little bit on the friendly side. I wouldn't say bullish, but I would say on the friendly side. Their estimates were to be 107, they come in at 105, undoubtedly because there's so many cattle still left out on wheat. Have probably underestimated how good the graze out wheat is, and how good the wheat grazing was in general for the whole winter time. The south central part of the United States there really had a dry winter, but amazingly they just had outstanding wheat pasture, and still a lot of cattle left out there, and that's probably what kept so many of them from being marketed in March. And we'll probably see those show up here over the next 6 weeks, and that's even more pressure on the market. But your marketing's come in very close to expectations at 107, so really can't blame anything that we see coming up this week on your cattle and feed report, but it sure didn't hurt anything any worse than what we're already hurting, which we're bleeding pretty bad. Cash feeder cattle for the week, 5 to 15 bucks lower, even more in spots, and just progressively lower. So your late week markets were a whole lot more lower than the previous week than the early week markets. So guess what? We come into your big sales in Oklahoma City and Joplin and places like that on Monday. They're going to be a lot lower than they were last week, just trying to catch up with the market, with those late week sales being double-digit losses. So that's going to even appear to be more bearish on the market, and probably continue to see things slide further going into this week, even though we're getting to the point, not long term, but near term, the market is fairly oversold, especially on the board. It's going to be hard for cash to find any stability here. We've got light demand right now. We've got really no grazers in the market. All your big time grazers in your major grazing regions have already stocked their pastures, got them turned out, and they're just letting those cattle grow and sweating the late summer and the fall. And you don't have any smaller local type grazers, because a lot of those are farmers, and they're finishing up their corn and working on planting their beans. So you got no grazing demand. You got no farmer feeders at all, because as we said, they were busy. And you've got no hedgers in the market, because these cattle won't work on a hedge, because all the out front futures are even weaker than what we've got on the spot market. But look at some individual quotes here late in the week on DV Auction and Cattle Market Central. In Winter, South Dakota, 325 on Friday afternoon, had a load of 805 pound steers, bring 145 and a quarter, and they would have been some awful good ones and a pretty good price there. I know that's a little bit hard to swallow. We were good $10, $15 higher than that not very long ago, and we could always figure an 8-weight steer would bring $1.50, but they won't do it right now, and they're not going to do it this summer and fall. And I think if you look back some of these reports there several weeks ago, I told you that $1.50 was going to be hard to hold going into these fall, even yearlings, even coming off grass, even though they're going to be better demanded. But go on to DV Auction. If you're interested in livestock and auctions in general, check out DV Auction. Our spring bull sales, of course, are winding down. We don't have near as many sales every day and every weekend as we have all spring, but we still got some good production cattle sales coming up. We've got some greyhound dog sales coming up this weekend. You might want to check those out. We've got deer sales, we've got boar goat sales, we've got just about anything you can think of, and it's kind of entertaining if nothing else to look at. But check out DV Auction. And from a home office here in Maysville, Missouri, we'll talk to you on Wednesday.